All right, this is the review for quiz number 3. And the first is about the different jobs in making a film. Well, it's interesting to me to make these analogies to the music industry that we've been focusing on. But let's just start out with this. Right? First, the actor is the performer. The director creates the film. The director of photography is the person responsible for the cameras and the lights. The producer, he usually sets up the finances. And the screenwriter is the person who does the story and the dialogue. In the lecture I probably went on for a long time about this stuff, but it is right. It's interesting to me looking at it from the way we use some of these same words in a different context. Right, the actor is a lot like the musician. Right, they're the artist. They're coming in and performing this art that is not necessarily theirs. Right. Maybe jump down to the screenwriter is like the songwriter, right? If it was somebody else, if we go back to the bad old days, to the Frank Sinatra days, right? There was a guy, Paul Anka, who writes a song, and he's like the screenwriter. And then the director in a film is the person kind of in charge of everything. That would be analogous to the producer in a record, right? And so the record producer would get the talent. He would get Frank Sinatra. He'd give him the song and say, all right, this is what you're going to sing, right? A lot like this, the director will get a screenplay, get the actors together and say, okay, here's the lines you're going to say. Then maybe the director of photography is a lot like the recording engineer. A lot of the things that we do in the audio engineering classes, right? But instead of just getting the audio, right, they're getting the visual. And then, the funny one in film is the producer. Again, it could be a little bit fuzzy because, you've got producers and executive producers and things like that. And it's interesting to me to watch these movies, right? And they list these producers who kind of don't have anything to really do with the movie, and I don't know how much money they get paid. I don't really, right? But it might just be sort of a nice nod to like, hey, Stan Lee did all these comic books back in the day, so we're going to make him executive producer on, the Avengers movies. But usually producers are people that are providing the money. They're the ones that are going to be making the most money too, right? But especially smaller films, you hear about them putting them together, trying to get the financing. So the director will have the script and they'll have the layout and they'll have like, oh, these are the actors that I'm going to use, and then go to a producer and say, I think we should make this movie. I think you'll make a ton of money. Here, can you invest this much money in my movie? Okay. Yeah, we can talk a lot more about producers and whatnot. In a record situation, the producer is sort of like the record company, right? They don't have as much artistic control, but they're in on the financial side. Okay, moving on to the next question is about the subject of a shot we call the hero. Now, it doesn't matter if that's the actual hero of the movie or not, right? It can be the villain, right? Again, I'll do Star Wars again, right? When there's a shot of Darth Vader, even though he is the villain, right? He is the hero of that shot. Now, it doesn't just have to be a person either, right? You cut to a different scene in Star Wars and you see a spaceship, right? The hero of that shot is the spaceship, right? Whether it's an object or a person, the thing in the foreground that you were paying attention to, that is the hero of that shot. Everything else is in the background. Okay, moving on. Ooh, this is fun for me. So then there are normally like 3 acts in a movie. Not all movies, right? Yeah, and you can find some great movies that do not stick to this story structure. But the majority of movies are going to have something at least a little bit like this, because we like stories to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so that's really what we're talking about with these 3 things, right? So the first part, what starts the story, we're going to call the initial conflict, okay? And so let's, if I take Star Wars again, right, the initial conflict is that they've got the Death Star plans, and they've got to get them back to the rebellion, so that they can attack the Death Star. Okay, so they've got these plans. Luke has to help these droids get away. The complicating action starts happening in the second act. That's the next part, where the problems start to pile up, right? They get captured, they're on the Death Star, they've got to, figure out how to get themselves out of a trash compactor and free the princess and all of these things. So that's the building up action, right? And then at the end, we've got the resolution, right? I won't give away the ending of how they blow up the Death Star. Oh, wait, spoilers. Okay, no, but that's the ending, right, where the resolution happens. Okay, and that was quiz number 3.